Is the coffee ready yet? Hi everyone, I'm Jacob. I'm the CowHatLibrarian, and this was a fun one. I finished reading it to my daughters for a bedtime story about 15 minutes ago, and I couldn't wait to record a video on it. It is Night Owl and Early Bird by the supremely talented Denise. And here's the short version. This was fantastic. If you like buddy cop stories where they don't get along and then they do, you'll like this. If you like the perfect stranger sort of stories, two people who are just at opposite ends of how they relate to the world, having to get along and work together, you'll like this. If you like animal stories about them holding swords and looking really, really cute and adorable, you'll like this. I really recommend it. As the story starts, Owl is the captain of the night watch. So the evening and overnight watch of the heavily armored people who guard the castle. And Owl has to deal with a would-be new recruit who wakes him up with a stream of dialogue. Hi, are you awake? My name is Early Bird. I'm your biggest fan. I just want to be a night owl just like you. You can teach me everything. I'm a super duper learner. I know that I can be a night owl. Look how big my eyes are. Do we stay up all night? What is your cape for? When do we start? Are there snacks at work? And it's a little much. Especially first thing in the morning when Owl has worked all night and just wants to sleep. So he rolls over and Early Bird amuses herself throughout the day. And they begin their training at night, accompanied by a cup of coffee. And Owl starts training Early Bird, but Early Bird clunks out and Owl heads off to protect the castle for the night. And this pattern repeats itself. Early Bird gets up bright and early and interrupts Owl's sleep and wants to go and do things and ends up entertaining herself during the day just to drop off and fall asleep at night while Owl gets to work. And this pattern repeats. And finally, Owl has enough and blows up at Early Bird and says, you know what, you're not an owl, you're not a night, you're driving me nuts, just go away. And so Early Bird does. And she heads off into the woods. And when Owl gets up that night, he realizes that's what happened, that Early Bird has left, and he heads off to go find her. And things go bad. Owl is out there alone in the dark, and the wolves are closing in, and suddenly someone starts making a bunch of noise. Early Bird has shown up with the cavalry. And after that heroic act, they find a great way to get along by having pancakes at the end of Early Bird's day and at the beginning of Owl's night, where they can talk about what happened during their day and night together. This is delightful. I had a smile on my face through the whole book. So first off, the art style is fantastic. I loved it from front to end, from the cover to everything else. It's a really, really fun, muted art style as you would expect of this sort of setting, like a medieval-ish castle, but the warm tones for the fires and the lights in the night and the contrast between the nighttime panels and the daytime panels is huge. So even this initial drawing here, where Owl's inspecting the night guards, and they're in somber grays and silvers with the very fun addition of an owl on each of their shields. But then the warm glow from the lights and the torches just lights up Owl and sets him apart from the background and the guards that he's inspecting. it's very, very effective. It's downright beautiful. The dark blues and blacks of the night outside and the forest and the wolves out there. It's intimidating and lonely and scary, and it really helps set the mood for when Early Bird heads out on her own later in the book. And then Early Bird shows up and it's bright morning light shining in. It's not the cool dark tones of the night before, only broken up by the light of the fire or the torch. It illuminates Early Bird's choice of clothing, red and green over yellow feathers, and carrying a blue bag, and there's lots of colorful details in here, and until it gets to nighttime, and then the somber colors lit up by the glow fires start again. It's very, very effective visual storytelling. It's phenomenal. Denise is talented at this. I am thoroughly impressed. I loved it. And I loved the little details. As I said before, Owl drinking a cup of coffee when they start the rounds for the evening. I love this double page spread when Early Bird sets out on her own. Into the night, into the dark, into the forest where the wolves live. It's still and somber and intimidating, and it feels just empty and dead, like nothing good is going to come of going into those woods. It's incredibly, incredibly effective. The writing style was great too. I read, Early Bird's introduction to Owl, but Early Bird's ideas of what nights talk like are hilarious, and they really made me think of people who were just introduced to this sort of setting and sprinkle in these and thous and other things and calls to adventure and so on. And it was great. It really, really set Early Bird up as a young, enthusiastic character who doesn't know much about the real world yet. And that was great. It really, really contrasted well with Owl's more mature, more laid back, more stick in the mud character. It was a great contrast. Like I said, this felt like one of those buddy cop movies where you have the old time veteran, you have the newbie, and they clash about stuff and eventually find a way to make it work. It was all that in picture book form with animals in a castle. You can't do better than that. I highly, highly recommend it. I had a lot of fun with it. It's not quite on the same topic, but if you liked the picture book, I did a video about a few weeks back called I Quit, about the cat who quits and heads off into the woods on its own in very similar circumstances to Early Bird, where they're both heading off into the woods, and it's a big page display, and you can tell how lonely and scary and frightening it is. I think these two would make a really, really good fit together, especially given the more serious tone of this one. Like, Owl has a job to do, and the rescue is a very, very big one from very, very dangerous circumstances and needing a full contingent of knights to rescue him from the wolves. Whereas I Quit, it's, the family coming out into the woods and rescuing the cat from mostly imagined dangers and being wet and cold and bedraggled. So yeah, I would pair the two of them, absolutely. I loved this, I recommend it, and if you want to go buy it, cool. Otherwise, definitely pick it up from your public library. You won't regret it. While I'm on that topic, if you use and appreciate the services offered by your public library, why not take just 1 minute and tell the powers that be exactly that? Tell your mayor, tell a councillor, tell your MP or MLA that you use and appreciate the services offered by your public library. We're at a time where some public libraries are having trouble finding sustainable funding to continue improving the materials, programs, and services they offer, and a few good words in the writers might make a world of difference. If by some chance you're a library staff member, don't forget, watching my videos counts as professional development time. with that, thanks for listening to me talk all about the early bird that didn't catch the worm in this book, but was nonetheless quite successful at other things. By all means, please like, please subscribe, and please check back and see what else I have to talk about from the CowHat Library. Thank you. Bye now.